You see, one day while I was scrolling through Insta, I was surprised to see a post by IGN that a new movie was coming out for none other than Winnie the Pooh. Now, the film surprised me not because it was a Winnie the Pooh movie, because Winnie the Pooh is a very successful entity, I guess. I don't know what to call him. But I don't need to explain why that's a thing. It actually surprised me instead because the genre of the new film was a horror slasher film. I thought, oh wow, that is gonna ruin a lot of childhoods, like, damn. But I actually came to the realization that this actually isn't something very new in entertainment. It got me thinking of darker content in general, from the grim fairy tales to series like The Boys, and well, after some research, it finally clicked as to why this is a thing and why it's enjoyed so much. And well, today I just want to talk about that with all of you today. Welcome to Psypop. In this series, we'll be talking about how pop culture, or something within pop culture, has displayed a phenomenon we're going to learn from it in the context of psychology and/or mental health. And well, if you like this series and don't want to miss out on any future episodes, please don't forget to show us support by liking and subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to click on the bell icon to get a notification whenever we post a new video. And also for those who have been watching Psypoints for a while now, you'll notice, hey look, a new setup. But sadly, this won't be lasting very long. I'm in my cousin's place right now. I brought a very small setup here. Look, I still got the little hairy mic. But now I have Halloween lights for the occasion. Happy Halloween once again. Whoa. Hope you're all taking care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. Let's get back to the video. Darkened content, in the context of this video, are forms of entertainment and genres that are known for being happier in nature, but made in a more gritty or realistic way to explore these darker themes. A great example of this is the dark fantasy genre, examples including The Witcher, Berserk, Dark Souls, Hansel and Gretel, The Witch Hunters, Snow White and the Huntsman, Sino Alice is a great one to talk about here, I would argue, and many, many more. Childhood fairy tales often portray an idyllic and innocent world from which children are often taught morals and life lessons, though it's as we grow older that many of us come to realize that many of these fairy tales are not as idyllic as they seem, given their true origin. Just look at the Grimm's fairy tales. Given this truth about the fairy tales, it just seems to grab at our imagination with the curiosity of seeing a darker portrayal of these stories as being either more faithful to their origins or to be reinvented almost entirely. Another popular form in which the darkening of content takes place in is within the superhero genre. Now, superheroes, much like fairy tales, often form the foundation of childhood stories, moral lessons, and inspirations, many authors of which are fully aware of. They see the inherent appeal of maturing the stories of said heroes alongside their audiences, exploring ideas, concepts, and realities of our modern world if reconciled with the ideal of the superhero. This can come in the form of a critique of popular media or politics a la The Boys, or be some darker exploration into the psyche or mindset of certain heroes, exploring the what ifs and confronting the real world issues that are inherent in the actions taken by these very same heroes, like a lot of the darker takes on Batman and the DC universe as a whole attempt to do to, well, varying degrees of success. Now, when it comes to Disney remakes, I actually debated placing these under darker content with the other writers, because some people think that since Disney live actions are more, well, real and the sets are darker, that these are darkened content. But these are more just cash grabs than anything else, personally. Trying to be better because it's dark. It ruins your childhood, not because it's trying to change the genre or story, but just because they're normally just really bad versions of the original, so I won't really delve into that further. So now let's move on further to the topic. Now I've given some examples of what darker and grittier content is, but I never actually explained where the appeal actually begins. Well, the interesting thing is that the appeal And what makes it so good, it all begins with you. You see, certain series, especially ones that cater to a younger audience, often have to take into account that as years go by, that their audience grows older with it. Taking Harry Potter as an example, the storytelling of the series grew increasingly more mature with each installment as new elements of the wizarding world were explored. From effectively being a children's adventure story in the first book slash movie to discrimination and politics getting involved in later installments to varying degrees of effectiveness. In developmental psychology, this is a natural occurrence as our minds develop and we experience the world more. Our worldviews change and we engage with and consume different forms of entertainment that reflect our now refined tastes. In direct relation to the previous point, the part of maturing alongside the audience, though this can happen without the previous point as a prerequisite, there's an inherent potential and fascination with the concept of exploring the less touched on aspects and implications of a fictional world in which these stories are set in. Take The Boys, for instance, once again. I really love this show, so I've mentioned this a lot, you'll notice. One of the many series that attempts to take a look at the realities of having superpowered people in the modern day as superheroes. With all their fanfare and popularity, something that would most definitely become exploited by corporations. Take even the mental health and personalities of these heroes, and how there's difference from the public face they put on versus their private ones off screen. I should put a mental note to myself that a Boys episode would be really cool. I will make that in the future for you guys. In what's almost a dark social commentary on celebrities, The Boys tackles this in its own twisted way using superheroes. Basically, a major appeal here is a grounded and believable interpretation of the society and world of a given genre or series, and even the tackling of even more mature themes, just like the aforementioned mental health. Breaking away from happy endings is an introduction to the tragic side of reality. Not everyone will get what they want. Rather, it's a matter of how they have to deal with the consequences and results in the end. By focusing more on darker twists, it can be more effective to teach readers on morals, especially if they showed how some character experienced consequences for their actions. They also introduced them to the idea that their sufferings have been gone through by other people as well. If the character was able to come to terms with their horrible situation, then, well, the viewer can as well. You can go through it too, and it's okay. Now, Darkened content has positives and negatives to it. Reading Darkened content in general, let's start with the positives here, can be perceived as a subgenre within the broad horror fiction field. If you look beyond the emotional pain of watching your favorite cartoon characters turned into monsters, it's as simple as using these sentimental shows as a means to achieve the goal of most horror literary works. By definition, the aim of horror fiction is to cause fear and dread to the viewers through the characters and the atmosphere itself. Now, using childhood as its theme is just one of the methods, hence, it's no wonder there are groups of people who actively create and look for more childhood ruined articles and stories, regardless if it's horribly written or not. As I've been talking about this point, I've been thinking about the new Winnie the Pooh movie the entire time. I think it's going to be bad. I'm just gonna say this out loud. But I think it'll be a fun watch. Tell me what you think in the comments. Really, I'm very curious as well what you guys think. Now, just as a disclaimer as well, darkened content doesn't automatically mean horror. If you want a straight to the point explanation, think of it as a form of storytelling. Now, every story has a foundation or a source of its inspiration. As long as it accomplishes the goal of storytelling, which is to tell the story and ignite human imagination, then you have a higher chance of gaining a favorable audience. Now for the negatives, well, let's be honest, exposing yourself to darkened content, especially involving your favorite childhood memories and shows, may not be a healthy thing to do. And, well, borderline masochistic kind of when you think about it. Psychologically speaking, the importance of childhood can be directed to its impact on a person's growth in well-being and character. These may be enhanced further through models, which can be in the form of people. Example, think of your parents, friends, teachers, or visual representations such as books and shows. Now, think about it. If you saw your favorite honey bear suddenly full of blood and eating people, can you still see him in the same way after watching that? My god, I can't wait for that new Winnie the Pooh movie to come out. If you personally believe that watching Darkened content may have negative effects towards you, I suggest you stay in ignorance, as, well, I guess the saying goes, ignorance is bliss. Ultimately, it's up to your own personal taste what you can personally stomach yourself. But I hope I made it all make sense as to why the genre exists and why people like it in the first place. So with that, thank you guys for watching. It's the end of October, or about to be the end of October by the time this video comes out. So I hope you all had a great Halloween during this time. Please comment any topic you'd like for us to tackle next, or about how your Halloween went. By all means, please, I'd love to hear from you guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day ahead. Stay safe, everyone.